Hey everyone, this is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and I want to continue this series on what I think is the best, my personal choice of the best charting platform out there, TC2000. I also want to mention to everyone, hey, please understand, I've been using TC2000 for many, many years, but I in no way, shape, or form consider myself an expert on the software. And I highly recommend, if you have questions or anything, contact TC2000 directly. They have great customer support, and they're really, really good at working with traders to help them use this product effectively. They also have a great library of how-to videos if you're interested. So one of the things that I wanted to do today is I wanted to talk about working with lists and effectively using a list to sort and to reduce the number of stocks that you really have to look at over a period of time. So a couple things I want to show you here. So first off, we can just take a list like the S&P 500, and we can click this icon right here, and I can pull up a list of everything in the S&P 500. But to be honest, that doesn't help me a lot unless I can sort that in some way, shape, or form to get me to the trades that I want. Now, for example, we could sort this by percent change, and you can see it's currently sorted by percent change. If I click on that column, it sorts top to bottom, bottom to top of who had the biggest gain today. So we can see BWA had the biggest gain in the market today, but I got to be honest, is there anything about that chart that you really like? You know, not so much, right? So percent change or net change doesn't necessarily mean it's a good trade for you. So we might want to do something in here to do a little bit different sorting. Now we could of course sort by volume as well. We could bring those charts to the top that have the most volume. AMD had a great deal of volume today in that, but at the same time, volume alone may not be nearly enough to get you the information you want or need to trade a stock. Maybe we're looking for a pattern or looking for something specific. So I wanted to show you, you can set up a scan or a sort in this list on tons and tons of things. So I'm going to, like these percent change and net change and volume, I'm just going to remove them. Right click on the title heading if you want to remove them and say delete. And just delete those out. So what I'm leaving on here is the price of the stock, the ticker, and this flag column. The flag column is really nice to have because you can highlight something in a flag or with a flag and then transfer that smaller list to another list, you know, just a few clicks, and that makes that really, really handy to narrow down your scope of work or the number of stocks that you have to look through. So one of the things that I do, and I've given you this information before in the video prior, if you look in the description, I gave you a scan basically that is the 34 exponential rising 20 days in a row. So just looking for that 34 exponential moving up, I'm looking for a trend. So if I wanted to sort this entire list and only look at the stocks that are showing a trend in the S&P 500, I just have to click this plus button right here, and I'm going to add a condition column. So by adding that condition column, it's going to bring up this list and everything that's in my system that I could potentially sort by. I'm just going to put in, you know, 34 EMA trending 20 days right here. And I'm going to drop that right here into a column. Now, once that column is in here, I just have to simply click and sort everything that's in this list. And if we go through this list, we will see only stocks that are trending, that are in a current trend. They may not have a buy signal, okay, but they've been in a current trend. That 34 exponential moving average is rising, okay? And so I can sort a list very, very easily. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, for example, if you're looking at the entire S&P 500, we don't want to have to look through the entire S&P 500. We may notice right here, once we get past these check marks, of the 500 companies of the S&P 500, there's only 235 that meet this criteria. So we may not want to look for everything in the book. We don't need to look at that. We just want to look at those stocks that are setting up, could be setting up within a trend. So that might be one criteria that you want to sort by. You can also do this by sorting a list just directly from an indicator. If we take an indicator here like this balance of power indicator, now I know that it turns green, it becomes bullish and turns green when it crosses 30. Well, I could actually sort my list by only those stocks that have green balance of power. So for example, I would just come over here to balance of power, right click, and say create a condition. And in that condition column here, I want it to be greater than, and I'm going to say 29 because greater than 29 is 30. That's when it turns green. And I'm going to click this add to button. I'm going to click that add to, and notice what that does. We could add this to an actual scan. That's the same process we do to set up a scan, but I can add it to a column here, add it in a column and sort it. So if I click right here, all of a sudden the balance of power shows up in this column sort. And so I'm going to sort this, and isn't it interesting? Wow. Of the 500, I can't, there we go. Okay, I was not at the top. Of the 500 companies of the S&P 500, this is how many have green balance of power. And you can see every single one of these, there's only 14 of 502 stocks that actually have green balance of power, where buyers are really stepping in there. Now, if I sort both of these columns at the same time, notice I sort this one and I sort this one. What it's going to do is it's going to show me the ones that have a trend, current trend, and also balance of power. And so you can see only 7 stocks in the entire S&P 500 meet these criteria. So I don't have to waste a lot of time looking at stocks that don't fit me personally. Okay, so from any list, you can do this. From any scan, you can create customized columns. And once you have those customized columns set, then you can save those columns and replace them anytime you want. So let me give you an example of how you save that. So if I were to right click here and say save column set, and then I just give the column set a name and click save. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just save this as demo. Save this column set. Now I want to look at what's going on in the NASDAQ, and I can just close this. I don't need this anymore. If I go over to the NASDAQ, grab the Qs here, grab the list of the Qs, I can quickly right click, say replace the column set, find my demo scan, click on that, and replace the columns, and have all of my columns now on this list, and quickly sort the S&P 500 by the same criteria. Qualcomm coming up in this list with nice green balance of power and trending 20 days, as well as ULTA. So very, very easy to do, very, very simple to be able to sort a specific list. Now, why is that so important? Well, we can take any component, and I know you've seen these things before, where one component or one area of the market is showing particular strength, and then we want to look in that component and see what's moving those stocks. So for example, XLP here recently has been moving up in a nice little trend, and it's platforming here, could be setting up for more upside. So if we wanted to find out what was moving XLP to make that go up, we just click this component list right here, bring it up, replace our column sets with our column set that we have saved, whatever one we want, and then quickly sort that list by just the criteria we want to see. And COTY shows up with green balance of power, but notice it's not trending. Also, we can walk through here and see really quickly those stocks that are starting to show trend, current trend, and potential setups for our trade. So whatever scan that, or whatever indicator or anything that you want, you can sort a list by that really easy. Let's say, for example, we want to see in the S&P 500 which stocks have the 34 exponential moving average above the 50-day moving average. Well, that would be just as easy as coming over here to this 34 exponential. We're going to right click and say create a condition. We're going to look in the drop down list here of the 34 exponential moving average. We want the 34 versus the 50-day moving average, and we want the 34 exponential to be above the 50-day moving average. If I click on that and then say add to, I can put that right here in my sort and then quickly sort by all of those stocks that have the 34 above the 50-day moving average. So any combination that you could potentially think of, you can sort a list here really quickly that way. Now, notice these are all in check marks. If you put a whole bunch of these things together, this watch list can grow and be pretty wide. One of the things that I like to do, and by the way, you don't have to live with these check marks, you don't have to live with these colors. You can right click here and say edit. And once you bring up the edit field, grab this right here, properties. Now, properties, you can show it as a check mark. You can see you can show it as a dot. Comes up as a dot. You can show that in what's called a scan light. And I like to use the scan light. Personally, the scan light puts this little green bar, or whatever color you choose, this bar underneath your price. And what's nice about that is it makes your watch list nice and concise. So you can choose however you want to do that, however you want to set this up, but just know that you have the ability to adjust that. So here's that example. I'm going to go ahead and change this one as well. And I'm going to change this to the scan light. And I'm going to change this one as well to the scan light. And notice how much more concise, or how little space my watch list now takes up. It removes a whole lot of the real estate that I need for my watch list. And I find that to be really handy to do that. So you can just have just about any criteria in here set to create that list. Now, one of the things I like to do is I like to create good stocks, trending stocks that have good volume and things like that. And so I'm going to share with you something, and I'll leave the link in the description of this video. On the CBOE website, I'm an option trader. On the CBOE website, they actually have a historical list, and they put this out every month. And in this list, you can see, this was the latest one on that you can get. If you click on this, it will download an Excel file. The Excel file includes all the stocks that have options, but it's sorted by those that have the highest volume in option trading. That's important to me. I don't want to waste time looking at stocks that don't have good quality volume. Okay, so I open up that list, and then what I do is I just copy and paste those over into TC2000, and I'll show you that in a separate video, how to make that copy and paste work. But it's really, really simple to do. So I will make sure you have this link to the CBOE website and how you do that. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up my list. If, by the way, any of these things in here, when you click on watch list, you can get your components, you can get industries, you can get your ETFs. So all of these are potential lists that you can work with in finding specific things in the market, as well as everything in here. Well, I have a personal list, and I have the August 2018 focus list. And then I bring up this focus list, and what I did is I just went into that CBOE list, and it looks like I grabbed 359 of them. I don't need 359. If you have 100, that's plenty of these, but they're all the highest volume options. Now, if you're not an option trader, keep in mind, if options are very active, the stock is pretty active. So this is where you can go really, really quickly to create a nice quality list of good stocks that have a lot of activity in them. Doesn't mean that they're trending, doesn't mean that they're setting up for a trade or anything like that. You still have to look at the chart, but you can start with a good quality list that has good volume in it. So for example, I'm going to take this list and then I'm going to right click and I'm going to replace it with my column set. Now I use a column set that looks like this. It has several criterias in it, but you can see they have the scan light in here. And if I click on this and sort really quickly, I can find out those stocks that have had really good option volume, are trending, and you can see maybe setting up for more upside in the trade. So yeah, I can quickly get to stocks much, much faster than most people can when they're doing long lists of running through trades. I don't have to look at this entire list of 359 stocks, because I know just with that quick sort that there are only 134 of those in that list that are actually trending. That's how simple that is to use. So learning to work with these sorts and sorting a watch list and getting really comfortable with that is one of the keys to my success, because I can quickly identify stocks that are moving, holding a trend, setting up. And then once I go through this list, then I'm constantly going through every single day. I flip through this list, and usually I flip through this list a couple of times as I'm sorting through, looking for those good quality charts that are trending. And then I take this list on a chart, my naked chart, and I mark up the trend. I mark up the support resistance areas and the key factors that I may be looking for in a trade. So I'm looking for the structure of the chart. What's going on here? Notice this chart, by the way, just happens to have strong balance of power, moving up very, very smartly, very strong. And we're setting up with a beautiful consolidation platform here, which really sets up the idea that we should have an alert on this chart. We should set an alert over here on this chart. Now, it's really easy to set an alert with TC2000. Just grab any trend line or any line, drop a line. Oh, by the way, kind of a quick pro tip, I guess. It's really hard when you draw from that trend line to set an exact straight line. So let's say your line is all jabberwocky and you can't figure out how to get it straight or get one perfectly straight. This is a quick tip. Hover your mouse right over the end of that line. See where it highlights the end of that line? Hold down your shift key on your computer and then click your left mouse button, and that will make that line perfectly straight, snaps it perfectly straight, and then you can drag that line wherever you want just by clicking on it with your left mouse key and dragging it around. So right here, after putting that line in place, I can right click on this line and see right here, set an alert. And I can, from that alert, I can have lots of criteria. How often it repeats, how long I want that alert to be in place, and I can even put a description here on this alert. And once I set that alert, then the software itself will alert me when the price crosses above or below that line, or above or below a trend line. So being very, very efficient in my trading, that's what I spend my time doing most of the time during the day. I'm sorting through lists, looking for those good quality stocks. I'm marking them up and waiting for those trades to occur, having the trade actually come to me. Okay, and what I mean by come to me is if I see a chart like SIG here, SIG moved up sharp, nice here. We have a little bit of price resistance right here in the chart. Okay, so I might just simply draw a line across here, create this as an alert, make sure it's nice and straight, create that as an alert. I might mark up this trend. We had this anomaly here right before earnings, but I might look at this pattern, a nice wedge pattern forming here. I place an alert on this and I wait for the stock to prove it can pop through there. So as soon as I get that buy signal, we get that pop in the stock, and that stock pops up above this level, I will get that alert, and it can be sent to your phone. It can, and what I use is it just pops up on my computer here because I'm here all day. It pops up, and I can quickly jump to that chart then and get to that signal very, very quickly. So I literally make trades come to me. I don't chase those trades that have already popped. And what I mean by that is it's common that people are chasing around stocks that have already made their move or made a big portion of their move today, and they're chasing it around. We don't have to do that with TC2000. If we set this up correctly, we can literally wait for the trade to alert us to the entry. It's a great way to do it, and it's very, very efficient to get to your trades really quickly. So I want to wrap up this video now, but I want to ask you to do me a couple of things. Please work on practicing setting up your list, your watch list. The more you practice, the better you'll become, the more efficient you'll be in using the software. And also, if you got something out of this video, if this helped you, please do me a favor, click those thumbs up buttons and also subscribe. Click that subscribe button here on YouTube, and once that pop-up, you click that subscribe button, a little pop-up will come up. Please make sure click that bell, because once you click that bell, every time I create a video, you'll be notified as soon as it's posted on the site. So please make sure and do that for me if you can. Hey, by the way, guys, if you like these videos, and have a comment or something about what you would like to see in these videos, please make sure drop that comment as well. I'd love to see that, and I will try to get those videos as soon as I possibly can. Everyone, have an awesome day. I wish you all great success with your trading. We'll talk to you all very soon. Take care now.